Hey guys, it's Kyle here. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It means the world to me. And this is a story about how a movie played a part in saving my life from a bully when I was in second or third grade. So my sister recently came to me and told me that she and her kids had just watched a movie that I grew up with. And they had watched it on streaming, and I was really excited to hear about that. And I wanted to share this video. It brought back a lot of memories of a really dark time when I was facing a bully. So as you guys know, I've been promoting the whole message of anti-bullying with my Super Nerd books here on the channel. I appreciate all the support and help and love, and just it's been so amazing. Everybody that's been willing to help out with this project and play a part in it. I'm very grateful for all the help. And so this is something that is sort of coming out of a place of gratitude for that, and also just in general with the message of anti-bullying. This is a message that I believe needs to be heard. So back in the second or third grade, I don't remember exactly which. I want to say that it was closer to third grade, but I was still I still knew, like, I still had the same classmates, and I still was very familiar with, like, my second grade teacher was a good friend of my mom's, and so it's like we still knew her and everything. So it kind of mushes together. But the bully in our class, I used to be friends with him, and at some point his parents started having trouble when he started turning into a bully, and I was unfortunately targeted a lot of the time, and he did some very horrible things to me. And it's something that you always kind of remember it, but I'm not harboring any anger for him. This video is coming out of a place of forgiveness. I have reason to believe that he may not be a bully anymore. I came across him on Facebook several years ago, and I know, I don't know what his life is like, and I know pictures can be misleading, and you can't always trust them, but he seemed happy, and I want to believe that that's true, and I want to believe that he is in a better place, that he has gotten past this in his life, and that he has friends and family, and that he is able to be better, because I know that my dad went through his parents having issues, and he grew up to be a good man who wanted to be better than the way that his dad had been. And I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for that. And so I believe that same thing is possible for this guy who was picking on me as a kid. But my parents told me I could go to the slumber party. He was having a slumber party, and my parents told me that I could go to the party. This big birthday party he was having at his house, and all the boys in my class had pretty much gotten invited, and I was invited too, and I kind of wanted to go. It's like, how bad could it be? He'll probably be in a good mood. It could be fun. And my parents said, okay, we'll let you go to the party, but make sure that if anything happens, if there's a problem, you find a phone, you can call us, and we'll come and pick you up. And so I said, well, that's great. I have some backup. If I need a ride home, I can get a ride home. So I went to the store with my mom to pick out a birthday gift for him, and she buys him a dart gun. She picks him out a dart gun. Thank you, Mom. I love you. And I don't remember whether or not I had any part in picking out the dart gun. And I also don't remember whether or not I had any idea how bad of an idea that was to get a bully a dart gun for his birthday. And they weren't the foam darts. They were the ones with those suction cups on the front that stick to you. And it was so hot out there in California. We had all taken our shirts off. We were down to our shorts. And I was being hit with these darts all over the place. Like, he was just like rapid firing them, reloading, rapid firing them at me just constantly. Anyway, more on that in a second. But even before that, things started going downhill. And I'm pretty sure even before that, I tried to go home. I called my parents. His mom, the bully's mom, took me into another room to a phone and allowed me to call my parents. There was no answer. I called the house. We had a landline back then. We didn't have cell phones. It was before my dad got his first cell phone. And they didn't answer the phone. I'm sure they had a good reason. They had told me they'd be home. I'm sure that they were. They might have been outside. They might have been talking to a neighbor. They might have been in another room. Maybe they didn't get to the phone fast enough. If you are in a situation like I was, I was very little. I didn't know any better. But the lesson here is that if you were in a situation like that, do not settle in. What I did was I kind of gave up. When they didn't answer the phone, I didn't think to call back again. I didn't think to try back later. I gave up. I settled in. I accepted the situation and thought, I guess I'm just going to have to suck it up and handle it. Now, being on the spectrum, I didn't always pick up every cue. And nowadays it's a lot easier. If anybody doesn't know that the adult brain can push past a lot of challenges. I don't have a lot of the same challenges as I did. Few people even suspect me of being on the spectrum even a little bit or having any kind of mild Tourette's, which I do have. but it's more the characteristics than the actual tics. And but it didn't used to be. Back then it was much more apparent, and like I said, when your brain develops, everybody's different. Everybody's brain is going to be a little bit different, and you don't know what stuff's going to follow you into adulthood. Very few things followed me into adulthood, and I'm very grateful for that. But back then, I struggled. I didn't always know what I was doing, and in this particular situation, I should have tried to get out of it. And for anybody else out there that is in a situation like this, try to get out of it. Don't settle in. Don't accept it like I did. Do whatever it takes. Try to get out of this situation as fast as you can. You do not have to stay. You do not have to accept that. Find a safe way home, somebody that you trust. Anyway, what I didn't realize is after this that his parents were passed out drunk on the couch. I didn't realize that until I was older, and I realized they were drunk. I'm pretty sure they were drunk. Anyway. So I managed to get a hold of the dart gun somehow, and I put it behind my back, or I hid it. I don't know. I did something. I was keeping it away from him. I didn't want him to shoot me with it anymore. And have you ever noticed how some bullies, like the stereotypical bully, I don't know how they do this, but they have like henchmen. He had like henchmen. These guys that were just, I don't know, they were just like almost like they worked for him. They were like his little soldiers, and he had them come up and like, I don't know, two of them were like in front of me, like they were waiting for me to hand the gun to them so that they can hand it back to him. I didn't want to do it. So he proceeds to walk into the kitchen because we were, if I remember correctly, we were standing in the living room. He had a living room here, and then over here was a kitchen. So I was standing kind of in the line between them with the living room behind me and the kitchen in front of me. And he steps backward into the kitchen and opens a drawer and pulls out this huge butcher knife. One of those gigantic, like, carving knives almost. Just like when you get like a knife block, the biggest one, the widest one, like that big giant knife he had in a drawer. He pulls it out and he holds it up. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was genuinely scared. I didn't know what I could and couldn't put past this kid. I don't know what he would have done. I didn't see him like rushing at me with it. I don't personally believe, as an adult, I don't personally believe he would have actually stabbed me with it, but I didn't know that as a kid. I handed back the gun. I handed it back. I handed it to his guys, and they handed it to him, and everything kind of resumed, and I kept getting tormented. My pants were stolen. I had a lot of horrible things happen to me that night, and goodness knows what would have happened if it hadn't been for the movie. So this is Blank Check, and I got it on DVD, and this is the movie that my sister and her kids recently watched, and they had fun with it. And I know it's hit or miss for a lot of people. I'm not here to give it a review. This movie has always been special to me because this movie was played on a night when I really needed a funny, goofy, dumb distraction. And somebody put this movie in. Now, a little bit about this. The main character of this movie's name is Preston. This kid is Preston. And one of the reasons this movie was at the slumber party is because the bully's name was also Preston. And that's one of the reasons he liked this movie, because the kid had the same name as him. And I forget who it was that put the DVD in. He had an older sister. It could have been her. I don't know if she was there. Maybe one of his parents before they fell asleep, or one of us. It wasn't me, but it was one of the guys. Maybe it was him. Whatever the case is, that movie was a VHS tape, was put in, and as it was put in, everybody settled down. We settled down into our sleeping bags. We got comfortable. Everybody was getting ready to go to sleep, kind of. The lights were turned off. We watched this movie, and everything slowed down. And I needed that. This movie is fun. It's funny, and I'm a bit, like I've been saying, I'm a bit biased toward it, regardless of what anybody thinks about it, because of what it did for me. Like I said, I know it's hit or miss. I know there's some stuff in this movie that some people, wasn't for them. This was in the 90s. Like I said, I'm not doing a review of the movie, but the thing is, I loved this movie, and I still love this movie because of what it did for me. This movie was like a happy place, and I see it, and I'm brought back to a time in my childhood where a kid could get a blank check, and he could get $1 million, and he could spend it however he wanted to spend it. And that distracted me, and it distracted the other kids at the party, including the bully. It distracted everybody, and there was this just peaceful time. They forgot all about the bullying. They forgot about everything. And it was just this movie, and we went to sleep after that. And I was still picked on by this kid. I reported what happened. Later on, I would eventually, my mom and dad and I would report it to the school. We talked to one of the teachers. She wrote it down. She brought it before the principal. I don't know if anything was done. I know that his mom claimed that I was picking on him because her son could never do anything wrong. And it's tragic. It's a tragic situation. But the thing is, this is coming from a place of forgiveness. This video is being made from a place of forgiveness. Whether or not he ever sees this video, he might not. I stumbled across him on Facebook not long ago. Well, several years back, I guess. So it kind of was a long time ago. But he seemed happy. I didn't talk to him, but I saw a picture of him, and he seemed happy. He looked like he was standing in a very pretty place, like he had a nice home, maybe even a family. And I hope that he is happy wherever he is, this bully. Because my dad went through his parents dealing with separating, and he grew up to be a good man who raised me and who did better than his dad did. And he wanted to be better, and so I'm hoping that this kid did that as well. I don't know. It may not be my place to know. I might never know, and that's okay. But I've been able to, I remember what happened, and it's still traumatic. It's still haunting sometimes, but I don't hate him. Nothing that I could have done to him to get revenge would have hurt him worse than he was already hurting. He was experiencing something that no child should experience. It's one of the reasons that my third Super Nerd book is going to focus so heavily on the bullies and how a lot of them are people that are hurting and they're lashing out because of this pain. And I know that there's still no excuse for bullying and what it entails and what it does to people. There's no excuse, and there's no condoning that. But we do need to understand where it comes from, that there is a pain a lot of the time. I can't speak for every time. I know there are situations where people are not dealing with things like that in the home, but they're still being bullies, and there might be something that happened to them. I don't know. There always seems to be some reason that we are unaware of, and so I wanted to just emphasize the fact that we need to be aware of that. It doesn't mean that they should still be able to pick on us or bully people, but it happens, and there are a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And maybe, I would almost say all of them in some way, even if it's not their immediate home life, something has got to be going on a lot of the time. And there may be a few special cases where that is not what is going on, and they just happen to be bullies. There's a lot of different kind of bullying. Nowadays, there are people that are the people that are entitled, people that they call Karens. I don't really get involved in a lot of that stuff, but I hear about it. I understand it. Sometimes the jokes can be a little bit funny, but bullying comes in a lot of shapes and sizes and different forms. Bullying can be people that don't want you there, and they just try to find ways for you not to be there anymore. And I've dealt with that as well without even having asked for it. And I may go into that in a different video if that's something that anybody on the channel is interested in hearing about. There's all kinds of situations. If a lesson can be learned from it, if people can be helped, then I'll be glad to share the story. But like I said, this is coming from a place of forgiveness. I have forgiveness in my heart. I have compassion. And I have this movie. And I like this movie because, like I said, because it distracted us. It gave us an escape. It gave me an escape. And this movie was always just a goofy, fun escape for me. Even today I can watch it and I can enjoy it. And I think back and this movie doesn't give me bad memories. It reminds me of a time when I really needed a distraction. I needed a funny kid with a funny story to, I don't know, kind of be my friend in that situation. I needed that. And I was given that, and I'm always appreciative. And I don't know who put the movie in, but I'm grateful to them, whoever they are. And I don't know. For all I know, I guess it could have been me. Maybe I popped it in. I don't think I did, but somebody did. And I have this on DVD now, and I treasure it. And it is on streaming, but I like having these physical copies sometimes of special things like this. And I know it's not for everybody, but I love this movie because of this story, what it did for me, and I know the movie itself isn't what saved me, but it played a part. It played a part in what happened that night, and I hate that it happened. And I wasn't the only one who was going through this stuff. I found out there were people that I was friends with that were scared of him also, and I think they went along with a lot of stuff he was doing because they were afraid. And it hurts. I knew a guy who it seemed like he was sort of he fell in with that crowd, and he started, sort of playing a part, or he was standing by, essentially, and watching this kid pick on people that were his other kid's friends. And I remember talking with him about that when we were kids. I remember talking to his mom, and I remember how surprised she was that he was involved in that. And this, I don't know if he was involved in that anymore after that, but I just, I hate the fact that the bully himself had to go through what he did with his parents. It was really tragic. And like I said, I didn't realize till I was an adult that his parents had passed out drunk on the couch. And it was a very dangerous place for all of us. It was a very dangerous night. And this movie was there to sort of ease that and sort of make it better. And it's little things like this sometimes. And so I'm thankful for this movie coming out of the blue, because I'd never seen it before. But I'm grateful for it coming out of the blue and helping me out so much on that night. So, excuse me, without further ado, I want to thank everybody for, once again, clicking on this video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment. If you have been through a situation like this, if you have a movie or a show or a book or something like that that played a part in a situation that helped you escape or just helped you in a situation, calm things, I don't know. If you have something similar to what my story is like, please feel free to share in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. There's no story too silly. There's nothing too wacky, too dumb. Doesn't matter what the book, the movie, the show, or any of that is. It could be just something silly. Maybe you saw a stuffed animal or a picture, just something that helped you in a situation like this. If you have something like that you'd like to share, please feel free to share in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear some stories that you have as well. So thank you guys so much once again for clicking on this video. I so appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. It's been a big journey lately. For anybody who doesn't know, I have been following my dream of getting my books out there, and I've been focusing on that. I have been trying to do it full-time, as well as working on some other projects, sort of part-time projects, sort of bring in some income. And I'm very appreciative for the help everyone's given me. I thank you guys so much for subscribing. It's been wonderful getting started on here and getting the help that I needed. I made some wonderful friends today. And there's some big things coming for the channel. I'm really excited for everybody to sort of be able to see where this is going. So please stick with me. Helps out a ton. Leave a like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. Helps it out a lot. And if there's anything that you would like for me to talk about, please let me know in the comment section as well. Any topics that you guys are interested in pertaining to these situations, I'm happy to talk about. So please let me know. So thank you guys so much once again. And as always, until next time, this is Kyle signing out. Everybody, have a good one.